Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to color this watercolor persimmon fruit. If you have tried this fruit before, please leave a comment below and let me know how you liked it. Let's get into the tutorial now. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the wood canvas that is included in the pack. Everything will be linked below. I've drawn a simple sketch that you can download and use, so let's go ahead and insert that. So here is the sketch, and let's go to the layers panel and make a new layer so that we can start to paint. And here is the color palette that you can download as well. And let's pick out this color for now. And we're going to be using the bold rough brush. You can start to color the top portion of the persimmon using this light yellow. And because we're trying to mimic real watercolor, we're going to use multiple shades of yellow and orange. So after you color a portion of this fruit, you're going to get the next yellow, the next darkest yellow, and continue coloring. So there is the third yellow there. It's kind of like an orangey yellow. And we're trying to kind of transition to the orangey colors. Along the bottom, the persimmon will be a lot more orange. Also, right below the leaf or the stem, you can use these bolder colors to indicate shadows. Once you're done with the first layer like this, you can grab the basic blender here and start smoothing out all of these colors. Once you have smoothed out all of the colors on the first layer, you can make a new layer on top and make that a clipping mask. And let's grab an orange, this one will do. And then grab this light rough edge brush, and we're just going to start kind of using this brush to mimic real watercolor strokes. So along the edges here, and here as well, we're just trying to create brush strokes with hard edges, just like how real watercolor looks like when it dries. And some edges, it looks a little bit awkward if we have too much. So you can also use the basic blender to smooth it out here and there. And so this is a step that you can or you don't have to do. And I'm just going to try to add different colors here, like using greens and browns. Once you're happy with the brush strokes, you can merge the two layers together and make a new layer on top and make that a clipping mask. And now we'll get another orange, a darker orange this time, and grab the Bloom #1 stamp and start stamping along these leaves as well as the areas below here, anywhere you want, really. But if you want to stamp along the top where the light is hitting, you might want to use lighter shades. So you might want to use a lighter yellow just to kind of make that transition more natural. So as you can see, I'm trying to make the sides a little bit more darker, and the bottom should be a lot more bold. Looking pretty good now, so let's make a new layer on top and start coloring the leaf. So we'll start off with this light green and use the old rough brush again. For all of the leaves, or the stem I guess, it's best to color them on separate layers. So you might want to color this one leaf on one layer and then make a new layer for the next one. Okay, so we've done that one, so let's make a new layer and start coloring this one. Separating the layers right now will make things a lot more easier later when we're using the clipping masks. Now let's make a new layer on top of all of these layers and make it a clipping mask. It is a bit more work, but it is definitely worth it in the end. Let's grab a slightly darker green and go to this clipping mask layer and start coloring along the center here, just giving it some shadow here, as well as this line in the middle, and use a darker green again and just start going along these edges, and you can blend them out later on. And the reason why we're doing this is just to add more texture to the leaf, more realness, just like real watercolor. Now I'm using the basic blender to blend out some of these lines and to soften them. Once you've added some color to the leaf, you can now grab the Bloom #1 stamp and just stamp along these edges here or the center and try to create some shadows. And so you'll want to color all of the leaves that we have here using the same method like this. And once you're done, we're going to use the light rough edge brush again and just go over the edges like this with the brownish color. Just to let you know, I am coloring on the clipping mask layer right now. And you'll want to do this for all of the other leaves. It is important to add these details to make this piece look a little bit more authentic. So adding that line there and just blending it out a little bit. Also, it's best to use multiple shades of green to mimic real watercolor. And you can color the center using the exact same method that we just followed right now, just adding a bit more brown to this stem here. And that's it! The brown is really useful for making areas look a little bit more dry, like the stem here. Overall, I would say that this tutorial was pretty easy, and if you have enjoyed it, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.